Turkey, 2021. The city of Igdir, with a population of about 100,000 people, was shaken by a tragic event that forever changed the lives of several individuals. At the epicenter of the scandal were a father, a son, and an 18-year-old girl, who found themselves entangled in a complex love triangle. Oleyna Agul, a young beauty who was just starting her adult life, lived in the very heart of Igdir. She was dating her classmate Geokhan Orgen, the son of an influential local businessman. But no one could have imagined the tragic finale that awaited their relationship. On September 30, 2021, Oleyna's body was found outdoors, on the pavement near the building where she lived. The police officers who arrived at the call of concerned residents confirmed the girl's instant death as a result of falling from the 5th floor. In the apartment of the deceased, a suicide note was found, in which Oleyna blamed Geokhan Orgen, the father of her boyfriend and the owner of a transportation company, for everything that had happened. The autopsy revealed that the direct cause of death was numerous fractures and internal bleeding caused by the fall from a height. Toxicological analysis detected a high level of alcohol in the blood of the deceased. The girl was intoxicated at the time of the tragedy. The farewell note, left by Oleyna on a shoe shelf in the hallway, was written in the last minutes of her life. The content of Oleyna's suicide note shocked the public. In it, the girl accused Geokhan Orgen of psychological pressure, insults, and threats. She wrote, "You are out of your mind, you don't know what you are talking about, you don't know what humanity is. You constantly try to get to me, insult me, and threaten me. You are just a sick person with a bunch of problems. You have had a relationship with your son's girlfriend twice. I know that you also slept with your friends' wives. I can't help but say that what you did to me is a real humiliation." As it turned out, the day before her suicide, Oleyna had gone to the police with a complaint against Geokhan Orgen. She accused him of blackmail, infliction of bodily harm, threats, and violation of the inviolability of private life. This information further fueled public interest in Geokhan's personality and the circumstances of the tragedy. 41-year-old Geokhan Orgen was a well-known businessman in the city, the owner of a transportation company. Married, with 2 sons, one of whom, Geokhan, was dating Oleyna. The police thoroughly examined the social networks and phones of all those involved in the case. Strangely, one of Geokhan's phones disappeared. The man claimed that he smashed it and threw it out the window due to angry messages from his son on the eve of the tragedy. However, investigators suggested that Geokhan hid the phone because it could contain evidence of his involvement in the girl's death. The investigation revealed that a year before her death, Oleyna had already attempted suicide in Istanbul. Back then, on May 14, 2020, the girl climbed to the roof of a building, but the police stopped her in time. Oleyna explained that she decided to commit suicide after a meeting with Geokhan, during which he attacked her. The police found out that Oleyna and Geokhan had been in a secret relationship for some time, which was initially voluntary. But later, the girl wanted to end the relationship with a man who was much older than her. Geokhan began to blackmail and harass her. In May 2020, Oleyna wrote to a friend that although she liked Geokhan, she was afraid of him and preferred to keep her distance. During interrogations, Geokhan confirmed his relationship with Oleyna, insisting that the feelings were mutual. He denied any attacks, threats, blackmail, or insults towards the girl. The man claimed that he was not involved in her death, because on the eve of the tragedy, they peacefully communicated, had unprotected sex, and together bought emergency contraception pills. Investigators assumed that Oleyna decided to commit suicide because she was trapped in a painful relationship with Geokhan and saw no other way out. However, the version of murder was not ruled out either. Residents of Igdir suspected that both Geokhan and his son Geokhan could be involved in Oleyna's death. They speculated that they could have thrown the girl off the roof, staging a suicide. Oleyna Agul was buried at the age of 18. Her family did not believe in the girl's voluntary departure from life and was convinced that she had become a victim of a crime. This was already the second tragic loss for the family in recent years. 3 years ago, their older son drowned in the sea. Geokhan and Geokhan Orgen were detained and arrested on suspicion of involvement in the death of Oleyna Agul. The investigation established that Geokhan, armed with a knife, was near the girl's house at the time of her death. It became known that Geokhan had previously been held responsible for drunk driving and possession of an unregistered weapon, and also sent angry messages to the police in response to fines. This tragedy shook the small Turkish city, giving rise to many questions and speculations. The police launched a thorough investigation to establish the truth and bring those responsible to justice. Just a few days after the arrest, Geokhan's son, was released from custody, with all charges against him dropped. As for Geokhan himself, at the first court hearing, he was released on bail, with the condition that he was forbidden to leave the borders of his hometown, Igdir. The investigation continued, and the investigators turned to the testimony of Oleyna's closest friend. The girl said that although she had never met Geokhan in person, Oleyna had repeatedly complained to her about harassment, threats, and even physical abuse from him. The friend also reported that on September 29, the day before her tragic death, Oleyna sent her a voice message via WhatsApp, in which she confessed that she could no longer endure the humiliation from Geokhan. The girl was determined to go to the police and file a statement against the abuser. She did visit the nearest police station, but the next day she was found dead near her own house. Serhat, Oleyna's friend, told the investigation about the constant harassment of the girl by Geokhan. Sometimes Oleyna even turned to Serhat for help and came to his house, hiding from the pursuer. The guy also reported that Oleyna hid her relationship with her boyfriend's father, fearing condemnation and misunderstanding from loved ones if the truth was revealed. The girl was afraid for her life. Serhat also said that 5 days before the tragedy, Geokhan called him from an unknown number and asked if he had a romantic relationship with Oleyna. The jealous man saw a rival in every acquaintance of the girl. Serhat assured Geokhan that his relationship with Oleyna was purely friendly. When the guy told his friend about this call, she became very upset and again complained about her fear of Geokhan. The girl was in despair and even thought about taking her own life. Serhat tried to support his friend, calm her down, and assure her that everything would be fine. Oleyna's relative, a man named Merrick, also contacted the police. He said that a few months ago, the girl called him and complained about constant calls and messages from Geokhan on social networks, which did not give her peace. Merrick advised Oleyna to go to the police and file a statement, which she did. While waiting in line at the police station, the girl even sent a message to her aunt, informing her that she was about to be accepted and would finally be able to file a statement against Geokhan. However, a few hours later, Oleyna wrote to her aunt again, informing her that she had postponed filing the statement to another day. When investigators gained access to Oleyna's social media accounts, they discovered a message the girl sent to Geokhan on September 8. It read, "We need to talk seriously, what is happening between us is wrong, our relationship may end badly." On September 22, Oleyna wrote another message to the man, noting that the Geokhan she once knew no longer existed, he had turned into a cruel person. The girl accused him of hurting her and threatened to tell the whole world about his true nature. On September 27, 2 voice messages from an unknown user arrived on Oleyna's account. The voice of a man, very similar to Geokhan's voice, warned that he was not a person to be joked with and promised a quick divorce with the girl. After her death, Geokhan confirmed that he was indeed the author of these messages. Having gathered evidence and compiled a final report, the police handed over the case materials to the prosecutor's office, which, in turn, sent them to the judge. Shortly after that, an arrest warrant was issued for Geokhan. On October 7, 2021, the man was detained again and taken into custody. The results of the investigation showed that Geokhan had a strong psychological influence on Oleyna and actually drove her to suicide. Investigators also found out that the suspect was looking for young women through social networks, offering them money and gifts. Having arranged a meeting, he would get them drunk and persuade them to have relations. Thanks to his influence and financial capabilities, Geokhan always avoided responsibility for his actions. Geokhan, the son of the accused and the boyfriend of the deceased Oleyna, was also interrogated by the police, but no evidence of his involvement in the tragedy was found. During the interrogation, the young man stated that he despised his father for disgracing him throughout Turkey. Geokhan, according to him, also became a victim of the situation and was going to leave his hometown forever. It is known that he repeatedly sent angry messages to Geokhan, accusing him of deceiving young girls. Here is the text of some of these messages: "You write to my school friends, stop doing it. May God curse you. You are a godless person, you slept with my girlfriend. I'm going to leave Igdir. Stay away from young girls. Apologize to everyone you hurt." In one of the SMS, Geokhan also mentioned that his father had abused his ex-girlfriend Beyza, who was forced to leave the city, unable to bear the shame. On March 17, 2022, the trial of Geokhan began. The family of the deceased Oleyna, her lawyers, and representatives of the Igdir Women's Rights Commission closely followed the process. During the hearing, a girl whose name was not disclosed gave testimony. She admitted that she also became a victim of Geokhan's harassment. According to her, there were other victims whom this man had hurt, but they were afraid to turn to law enforcement. The girl said that after the abuse, Geokhan began to threaten her, so she, overcome by fear, was forced to change her place of residence. Geokhan's defenders insisted on the groundlessness of the charges, arguing that their client was not responsible for the actions that led to Oleyna's death. After several hours of deliberation, a verdict was rendered. Before announcing it, the judge asked if the accused, who had been silent all this time, wanted to say something. Geokhan merely looked around at those present in the courtroom, declared his innocence, and demanded immediate release. However, the court found Geokhan Orgen guilty of bringing the girl to a critical point and sentenced him to life imprisonment. In addition, the man was ordered to pay a fine of 10,000 liras. The lawyers of the convicted man immediately filed an appeal, but for now, the verdict remains in force. Oleyna Agul's relatives and other concerned citizens who closely followed the course of the case, demanding justice for the deceased girl, expressed satisfaction with the verdict. Representatives of the investigation publicly called on other victims of Geokhan to give testimony in order to bring him to justice for the maximum possible number of crimes committed. At the moment, Geokhan Orgen is behind bars, actively seeking his release, while his son Geokhan has left his hometown forever, hoping to start a new life. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Until next time, friends.